Today, for this video, I want to talk about the scapegoat role, since it's something I've done in the past, and that's something that I get the most questions on and about. And I know a lot of you find me because you want to get over the scapegoat role. So what's important in my videos about being a scapegoat or being in a position of victim is that I don't discuss too much about what it comprises of being in that position, as I believe we all have a fair understanding when we're at the point when we want to get out of the role. What I prefer discussing is actually how to get out of the victim role, how to get out of the scapegoat role, how to not play scapegoat to other people's issues and problems anymore. The one thing I want to emphasize about the scapegoat role is that, let's be clear, it's not your fault that you find yourself in this position or that you're here. I don't want to start off by saying that any one of you is to blame for being in this position or being in this role that you have been in. What I don't want you to take away from this video is to think that you have to attach blame to yourself, because then none of this is going to work. So it's not your fault that you're here. But now that you know that you're here and you found yourself to be here, what happens next is your responsibility. So a lot of times people feel powerless in such a role, in such a position in which they're the victim of a bad situation or a bad circumstance. But it doesn't mean that you're powerless, because the moment you figure it out, that's the moment that any next step becomes your responsibility. So you may find yourself at this place, but it's your responsibility to get yourself out. And that's what we want to talk about here. How do we get out once we realize that we are playing a role? It's important to look at it this way because, we are playing a role. It's not really us. It's not that it's my identity or your identity that is a victim or that is a scapegoat. The real you is here because you were a victim of maybe a circumstance or a situation, maybe a bad decision. And hey, we all make bad decisions. Maybe a certain way that you were taught to think when you were young, a certain way that you've always thought in your life and never thought to question it. So you're there, but now we can do something to finally get out of it. So the real you definitely has the power and definitely has the motivation and definitely has the will to get out of the place where you find yourself. So that's what we rather want to talk about. So my very first look into when you want to start getting out of this role is to start building awareness. And as a meditation and a mindfulness coach, this is where we begin. When we want to change our situation, the first thing you want to do is build awareness of what it is that you're repeating in your life, or a look into where and why you found yourself in this position. So just to build awareness about how and why you're here. And this could mean you maybe want to take a look at what's happened when you were growing up. You maybe want to take a look at a particular situation that occurred over a job or at your workplace or with a friendship or with a relationship, boyfriend or girlfriend or partner. You may want to look at an isolated case like that and just sort of look at it with awareness. Don't look at it from an emotional point of view. Just look at it as an objective observer and try to build awareness about what happens when you're in such a particular situation and how you react and how you feel, and whether that has any effect on what you end up saying or what you end up doing, or then what ends up happening to you. So that's the first step. Try to start building awareness about what you're doing when you're in an undesirable or unwanted situation. And the way to do that would be to start building mindfulness as a practice in your life. So you don't have to sit in meditation for hours to come to that point, but you just have to realize you have to start looking at things mindfully. And this this happens more naturally once you develop a practice of being mindful. But you can begin. You can just begin even right now. All you have to do is find a quiet space wherever you are. If possible, just sit quietly for 15 minutes to half an hour with a piece of paper, and just mindfully look at a particular situation that you've recently been in which you came out to be a victim. Just take a look objectively about what you may have said and how you may have reacted and what you ended up doing, and just like sort of put it out there on paper. This will help you get an idea of what actually happens when you're in a situation that's making you react with all these emotions that are stored up inside. So when we're in a particular situation, we tend not to think that way. We react, or we're coming at it from the emotions very emotionally, so we're not really processing it. But that's something that definitely you can do now that you're aware. So maybe just take the most recent thing that's happened in your life and try to take a look at it, sitting quietly in a organized, structured way. Just like take notes, say, okay, like a scientist, like what happened, right? So that's where I would start if you want to make your way out of the scapegoat role. And once you really start looking into it, check to see some of the few basic things that make us end up playing this role over and over again. So one of them always is that you don't believe in your own self-worth. So when you don't believe that you're worth something, you're going to end up having people take advantage of you. So check to see first how you feel about yourself on the inside. Check in first and see, okay, am I worthy of this? Do I deserve what's happening to me? Did I deserve what a friend or a boyfriend or anyone did to me? Did I deserve it? Am I worth that? And chances are, most of the times, you're going to find out that no, you're not worth the treatment that you were getting. But whatever it was, something was keeping you there despite knowing that. So whenever you want to go back and analyze one situation, first look at it from this angle. Was I worthy of that? Just try to discover it from this angle, and you find out, no, a lot of it is coming from the place where you feel that you feel that you don't deserve good things. So try to analyze it from that angle. And then what you can do is take a look at your most common responses to your most common fearful emotions. So there's always something, especially when you look at relationships or when you look at people-to-people interactions, always something that we fear the most. For some people, it's fearing that, if I say something, people are going to laugh at me, so it's shame. For some people, it's like, if I say something my partner doesn't want to hear, he or she's going to leave me. So that's fear of being abandoned, or fear of feeling lonely, fear of being, left alone. So these are some of the common fears that act up, especially in interpersonal relationships. And these fears are generally affecting the way that we are behaving when situations occur that we feel are threatening, and that we feel they're going to lead to that outcome that we fear. So we end up reacting to that in fear. And it ends up that we've been taken advantage of, or we feel victimized, or we end up being the scapegoats again. So these are some of the reactions that we have learned since we're young, and we keep repeating them because we've never stopped to question, okay, well, when I was a kid, I would put up with that. But now that I'm an adult, do I really need to put up with it? How do you feel worthy? How do you feel that you deserve the best that you can have in life? How do you finally start saying no to people who are just there to fill gaps in their own lives, to fill whatever loneliness they may have, the ones that are just using you as a vessel? How do you finally feel good enough that you can get away from such people, and in the end get away from such thinking, believing this about yourself? that you're there to fulfill someone else's need. What do we do, or what do you do to step out of this? So we talked about building awareness, and I would really recommend building a regimen, like a regimen that you really adhere to, of certain little practices that make you feel good about yourself. And at this point, I'm not talking about a lot of materialistic things like, okay, going shopping, or taking a scented bath. I mean, those things are good as well, but we want to go deeper. And a lot of this has to do with us at the spiritual level. How do you feel spiritually? And I mean, if that's too big for you, you can try to take a look at it. How do you feel emotionally? How do you feel here in your heart space? So you got to feel good here to be able to get out of the role you created here. So that's a link here. So you have to sort of come from this part, and overcome the belief that you've created about yourself, that all these things, keep happening to you. And now that you finally know that you want to get out of being a scapegoat, what is this regimen? What type of regime can you have every day or every other day? Small things that you can do every day that make you feel good about yourself. I mean, when I say it this way, it sounds simple, but it's one of those things that until you really start taking small actions every day, it won't happen. So small actions every day, and then they accumulate in the end into you slowly starting to develop yourself to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm a good person and I deserve good things, and from this moment on I will only invite and accept good things in my life. So you got to have that resolve first every day. You've got to have the resolve. You've got to have that intention. You've got to remember what you're worth. And I always do this little exercise in meditation that I've also done with others, and I can also do it here. And I really like it because anytime I feel down, or anytime I feel like, oh, this is like a bad situation, or I'm going into a hard, difficult day, I try to practice this little meditation. So I can like just a couple of minutes, I can just do it here with you, and then you can repeat it every day, every other day, whenever you want to, in the mornings, in the nights, or even sitting in a bus or a tram. You can just do this quick little exercise, and believe me, you're gonna feel better. Close your eyes, and let's start with a focus on our breath. Gently breathe in and gently breathe out a few times. Take a deep breath, a soft breath in, and a soft breath out. And when you feel calm, shift your awareness slowly into your body. So you feel yourself calming down. Shift your awareness into your hands, into your feet. Maybe wiggle your toes a bit. Really feel easy. Feel there inside your body. We're going to bring our attention to the center of our body, in our sacred heart space. Take a deep breath and imagine that a ball of light is glowing in your heart, in the space that surrounds your heart. The ball of light feels warm, feels good. As you follow this ball of light, you begin to walk into it, and you emerge in a field
the center of your heart, you're on a field. This light glows around you, and you imagine all the things in your life, all the things, big or small, in your life that bring you love, that make you happy, that bring you joy. Imagine all the things that bring a smile on your face, and remember to gently smile as you think of these small things that you're grateful for in your life, that fill your heart with love. And now you begin to fill this ball of light with all these things, whatever they may be. The way the sun shines into your room when you wake up in the morning. When you look at someone you love and you see a smile on their face. When you feel the fresh air blowing through your hair, or you smell the first scent of coffee in the morning and the scent of fresh bread coming from the bakery. All the things that bring you peace and joy, all the things that bring you love, you start filling your sacred space, your light, with these things. You begin to notice that the color of this light is changing, it's glowing brighter as all the love that surrounds you every day in this world begins to enter. And feel this light surrounding you, engulfing you completely as you become an entity of love. As you think of all these things, you know that you are grateful for this love in your being, in your life, that you are love, that you know what it feels like to be loved and to give love to others. And as this beautiful love begins to enter you, you know that from today and every day you will create and cultivate love in your life and illuminate others with this love. Now bring your attention back to the center of your being where this light is glowing brightly. As you start to bring yourself back out of this field, back into your body, back into the room where you're sitting. As you focus on your breath, soft breaths, come back, breathe, and gently open your eyes.
So these are some of the short tips that I wanted to share with you today. Sure, I have some more stuff there, but what I really love is when I hear from you guys and you tell me what you want to do, what you want to hear, what specific questions you have. That's something I just love, and then I would work on like short videos for those as well. So yeah, keep a lookout here, and I make new stuff. There's lots of stuff I want to put out there, and yeah, you'll see lots of cool stuff. So thanks a lot for all your feedback and all the questions and all the comments that I get. I'm really happy that these videos and what I have to say really help some of you, and I will share all my tips and all my practices with you so that we can, you know, finally move towards living that life that we want to and say no to being the victim. Have a great day.